welcome in to the first episode officially of October. We're a little slow on our September episode, but Jeff, well done on the intro, my friend.
Thank
Well
you. Thank
done.
you very much.
A golf clap for you. JD, you're something. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing better than somebody wearing a Vancouver Grizzlies cap.
Hey man, I'm starting Halloween early. I'm cosplaying tonight as good old big country Bryant Reeves, and I'm here for it, man. I'm
In
excited.
the
I'm
archives.
fired up. I'm fired up. Yeah, I was actually telling Jeff before we went live. He was like, "You wearing a Grizzlies hat?" And I was like, "Well, we actually interviewed this director for a documentary way back in the day, and I actually am a big fan of the Grizzlies, and big country Bryant Reeves was a bit of an idol for me growing up, so yeah, I've got his little miniature figure sitting here on the desk. Might be able to see. Oh, there it is. There's creeping in. But
Yeah, who isn't a Memphis Grizzlies fan?
I mean, I even had the flat top. So
Yeah, well,
but yeah,
that's why you're
yeah,
wearing a hat.
the Memphis Grizzlies not nearly as cool as the Vancouver Grizzlies, and the best part about them is when they wear the throwback jerseys. And I definitely want to get a Ja Morant throwback Grizzlies jersey, which neither of you two probably even know who that is, do you? Yeah,
Center
non-athletic
for
fans.
somebody? I don't know.
Center.
Wait a second.
Point
Time
guard.
out. Time out. They're
What's
not in
a Ja
Vancouver
Morant?
anymore?
No, they're in Memphis.
Yeah, right.
Huh. Interesting.
Okay.
I at least knew that part.
Yeah.
Well,
there
I
you
can't
go.
wait to catch a Montreal Expos game then.
Vladimir Guerrero still play? Yeah. Weird. Real quick before we kind of dive too into things, last episode was a lot of fun. We talked about old school in 20 minutes or less. We had our first pass or gas segment. Jeff, what was your feedback on our last show? What would you like about it?
I thought that it was a nice segment, something different, a new spin on an old take, as they say. It helped, branch out ourselves with current shows slash movies and give the audience a little feedback, that we're just not old school movie hardcore fans, no pun intended,
Yeah.
but that we, watch some of the current stuff as well.
Awesome. JD, what about you? What are you hearing through the grapevine?
I heard that we need to get our shit together and clean up passer gas a little bit.
Okay.
We need to streamline that. But
That's
other than that,
tough feedback to hear, but I like
yeah,
it.
well, Jesse's a tough cookie.
This is our first time, but I think
So-
we got a couple eggs on the stove here. We're crackling some bacon. We got some ideas.
Oh, I loved it, and I had a great time doing it. I just think that we need to sharpen it. It was our first
Sure.
time. I mean, Kyle, your first time, your wedding night was very difficult. I understand.
Super tough.
I forgot my flip flops on my wedding night.
Oh my gosh, too much. Let's talk a little bit about what's coming up. Let's get people excited about what do we have in the pipeline here. Jeff, we got a big interview dropping on Friday. Why don't you give a little detail on kind of first off, who we're having on and what they can expect if they tune in for that episode.
Well, this is actually a gentleman that creates miniatures. Coincidentally named David Miniature.
Sure. Yeah.
We'll go for that as his real name. That's how we refer to him. And, he creates miniatures specifically for Back to the Future, first off, as well as other custom make models. He had the Terminator on there. He had, I think, Beetlejuice, Jurassic Park. He had a plethora of miniatures that he sells, and every item that he makes is one of a kind, custom made. He does not do duplicates. Coincidentally enough, he also did a throwback to a couple famous couch sitcoms. He has the Friends as well as a personal favorite of mine, Three's Company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had such a fun time talking with David, and I think you guys are going to really enjoy that one. So if you happen to have caught that um, on the live stream when we recorded it, cool. If not, it's going to drop right here on YouTube Friday, and then everywhere you listen to podcasts Friday morning as well. So be on the lookout for that. Also, let's talk a little bit about the movie of the month. So we kind of discussed a little bit, but I thought we could kind of hash it out on air here because that's what this episode is all about. JD, in the last, we've been doing this for 5 years now. We've done a Halloween movie every year. Do we continue the tradition?
Yes, the answer is yes. We have to.
Okay.
We have no choice, and people will literally come at us with torches and pitchforks if we don't.
Okay, that's
fair. As the new person, I 100% agree.
Yeah.
I do not want to rock the boat.
We don't want to rock the boat, and also this is a fun one because we're on number 5. It's Halloween 5: The Revenge of Michael Myers, and it says Michael lives, and this time they're ready. Yeah, we've got Danielle Harris is in this one. Donald Pleasance is back. We love Donald Pleasance. What can we say? I shot him. I shot him 6 times. So I get to do my impression. My voice goes out. I think that Donald Pleasance, JD, isn't far off from the executive from That Thing You Do. So anything in that realm, I'm pretty decent at those. We need to find more people like that.
Give us That Thing You Do. Come on, I like it.
Get the goddamn kid out of here! Can't eat my sandwich!
Yeah.
Every time gets me every time.
My throat's killing me already. It's like I just
That's what she
swallowed
said.
tacks. Yeah. Oops.
Hmm?
Nope, don't go there.
Or he said.
What else should we do this month? What other ideas do you guys have? Come on, we got to have something.
Are we thinking top 5 lists, like that sort of thing, or you want to try to throw another movie in the mix? I know there's a lot coming out. There's a lot going on. It's October.
Mm-hmm. I think we should do this. Chris Clues, baby.
Hello, Chris Clues here, speaker and all.
Coming to a podcast near you, friend of the show, one of our favorite guests of all time, Chris Clues. Welcome back, man.
What's up, guys?
How we doing? Yeah,
Thank
I'm
you
excited.
for doing that. I appreciate it, man. That's awesome.
Cheers to you, Chris. Yeah. Congrats on the new book.
Thanks, man. It's right back here somewhere.
Yep, I see it over your our left shoulder, your right shoulder, right above.
This is my this is my little setup for. I've had a bunch of TV interviews over the last couple of weeks and more to come. So this is my little setup that I have behind me when I do those.
Yep, I always love that little sign you have by. If he gets up, we'll all get up. It'll be anarchy. Oh, it's so good. But man, yeah, congrats on book number 3. We definitely want to have you on just as a real quick preview, because we definitely want to get you on for the full episode and talk some more 80s movies and all about the new book in long format like we always do. So so how have things been going? I mean, I've been watching on Facebook. It seems like the books climbed the charts there. We're doing pretty well.
Yeah, and it's probably because I've got an endorsement from you guys in the front of the book, so that definitely helps.
Sealed the
Of course.
deal, no doubt.
Yeah, it's been great. It's it's really making a living as an author is difficult. You always have to have something else, and so for me, that's something else. You guys know is keynote speaking, but the book is going really well. It's selling very consistently. I got to #1 new release in I think 2 or 3 categories, which was really cool to see. That's really my second book didn't hit those numbers, so that was really exciting to see at the beginning. And I think part of it is because it's life lessons instead of just workplace lessons. I think it's a much broader audience. I think it's going to appeal to a lot more people.
Yeah, that's so cool. And yeah, I mean, we're always happy to give you the endorsement, because I mean, I was going through YouTube today and I typed in Chris Clues and I put in Back in Time podcast. And it's just like episode. Like it's just a whole string of episodes that we've had you on. And every one of them, I was just like, oh yeah, that was a really fun one. Oh that one was even better. Like, yeah, I love having you on here, man.
I mean, listen, I'm so glad that we met. I think it was on Twitter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And which is ironic because that's like the least of the channels I use in terms of social media.
Yeah.
That we actually
with our biggest audience.
Yeah, right. That we actually met there is so cool. And then it's turned into this thing where we've had all these different awesome episodes. And I appreciate it because as I've told you guys before, it's easy to be a guest. People don't realize the amount of work that goes into creating a podcast, keeping that podcast going, doing all the work with every episode. I really appreciate what you guys do. And I've said this before, for people like me to have a voice that I wouldn't have otherwise. And so it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Well,
hell yeah, man. And your voice is loud and proud, and we're very happy to have you be a legacy partner with us. Some bullshit synergy.
I'm actually going to be on WGN on their morning show live next Monday, I think.
Okay.
Oh, wow. That's neat.
Yeah.
Good old Channel 9. Well, it used
that's
to be
up
Channel 9.
your
I
way,
don't know
yeah.
what it is now.
There you go.
So Monday morning, that's listeners.
Yeah,
in the
you'll see it on my
Chicagoland
social media.
Yeah.
I can't remember what time, like 10:30 or so. Anyway, I'll put it out, and yeah, it'll be pretty cool.
For sure. So yeah, I got the book pulled up here. So this is the best way to get the book, right? Amazon preferred it. I mean, obviously, if you are at a Barnes and Noble, you can always order it there. I would imagine.
Yes.
Okay. Yep.
Yep. More and more channels, but this, I mean, Amazon is the, they're the primary bookseller at this point.
Yeah.
Although hopefully it's going to be in a lot of independent bookstores this time around as well. And we're trying some different distribution channels that could get it on the shelves in some larger stores. So we'll see.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I think I'd probably flip out if I was at like a Walmart or something and I just walk by and like your books there. I'd be like, I know him. I know him.
If you flipped out, you can imagine what I would do.
So yeah, I mean, it's really this simple. Like you go on Amazon, add it to cart, buy it now, ships right to you. I mean, easy peasy. And these books are so digestible. I mean, you can literally, I think I got through the first one in like 2 days. It's like 2 trips to the bathroom. Let's be honest. Yeah.
That's how it was designed. This one's 330 pages. So this might take you, well, it depends. I don't know how long you take in the bathroom, but it might take more than 2 trips.
You also have to understand Kyle doesn't know how to read.
Right. Yeah, there's that.
So that's a little tough. So
like
there's a lot of pictures in this one. This one has a lot of photos. So.
I'm like Chris
That's a lot.
Farley. I'm like, yeah, I know some of these words, left to right,
Yeah.
up the bottom.
Niner.
Yeah.
By the way, that's a 90s movie that felt 80s. Tommy Boy, for sure.
Fantastic
Absolutely.
episode in our archives. 90s movies that felt 80s.
Yeah.
I think that might be in my top 5 all time for our show. I really love that episode. I don't think it gets enough love, if I'm being honest. So we just need to keep re-promoting it. That's what we
Yeah,
got.
that one was a lot of fun. JD, by the way, I was on a radio station last week, and I don't think it's going to air until later this week. But the DJ's mom was the lady in the laundromat in the Toxic Avenger.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, is that amazing?
That's so cool.
Yeah, she was an actress back in the day, and she was in the Toxic Avenger. I said, "You got to be kidding me!" Of all movies, yeah,
That's awesome. That's a treat.
yeah.
That's a future episode. That has to be.
Yeah.
Oh, the
Yeah.
remake is coming too. So
That's
Well,
it's I don't like remakes either, but I am kind of curious to see what they do with this because it has the potential. I'm not this is going to sound like sacrilegious, but I'm not a fan of most of the Marvel and DC comic movies. But I do love Guardians and I do love Deadpool. And I feel like Toxic Avenger, if they do it right, could fall into that little category. That's kind
I
of
can
over
see that.
here, that's different from all those superhero ones.
I could definitely see that.
yeah. By the way, Chris, meet Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Chris.
New to the show. Also is part of. We threw him in the book too. Throw him a little.
Yes,
bone.
I saw that. So we needed 2 more people, and we'd have the Breakfast Club with your
Right.
Exactly.
We need a couple
Are you
females to
team-
balance this thing out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are you team Kyle up for something? What surprises do you have? What trucks, as the text says, do you have up your sleeve?
Nothing else with Chris. But yeah, there's another. I got one more up my sleeve for tonight. We'll just say that.
We got to figure out what our next episode is.
I agree. We definitely need to get something going. I mean, obviously, I think the next one is, let's talk about the book. We'll have some fun with that. But we've got to. I just need to go back into our text chain between the 3 of us.
Oh, that's right.
We've got a ton of really good ideas in there. So we just need to pick one of those and roll with it. So
yeah, definitely. I'd love to talk about the book, obviously.
Yeah.
But
Hell yeah.
it would be kind of fun to do something about. So we all know the iconic characters from 80s movies: Ferris Bueller, all the
Sure.
characters in The Breakfast Club, Doc Brown, Marty McFly. I mean, but what if we did something where it was like our top 5 iconic characters that are not the kind of mainstream iconic characters. So for me, one might be I'll give you an example. One for me might be Loudon Swain from Vision Quest. Iconic in my mind, right?
Yeah.
People would say Jake Ryan, right? But clearly iconic, but these are the ones that people don't. Ronald Miller from Can't Buy Me Love. For me, he's an iconic character from the 80s. On top of the fact that Patrick Dempsey went on to become from being a nerd on a lawnmower to Dr. McDreamy. So I guess
think he sold his soul for that one.
What's that?
I said I think he sold his soul for that one.
Yeah, he went right down to the crossroads, as Robert Johnson sang. I think, yeah, definitely sold his soul for that one. But it was worth it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Totally worth it. And yeah, I think that would be a really fun episode. I mean, we could even do that next. I mean, we can set aside 10 minutes, talk about the book, because we don't want to give away too many spoils about the book. People got to read the book.
Yeah.
So if we come here and give it all away, they're like, "Oh, I need to spend $20." Spend the $20. Give it to a friend. Or if you can't read, Kindle it. Maybe Chris, we need to get you doing a voice. You got to read the book to people. That's the next step.
Yeah,
The
I know.
voiceover.
I definitely want to do an audiobook. They are.
Well, I actually happen to know a professional voice actor with their own studio
Yeah.
on this podcast.
Name Jeff. Okay.
Yeah.
There's somebody. So
It's,
Yeah,
it's on
that would
it's
be
on
cool.
the agenda. I wanted to try to read it myself, but getting studio time is not an inexpensive proposition. So as Jeff, as you probably know, since it's
Yeah, I have my own home studio, so yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
yeah. But audiobook is something that maybe you and I can talk about, Jeff, because audiobook is something that a lot of people have asked me about.
Yeah.
And, I definitely would love to have one. I know that that's what so many people do. I even have neighbors that tell me like all they do is listen to books now. Like you cretins, you need to read too.
I actually read the 2 chapters that were sent, and I was very impressed and enamored and just wanted more. So and this is from someone who doesn't read at all. So yeah, I enjoyed it a lot, especially when it involves movies and life lessons, and always think that you can always pick something out of a good quality movie.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, I love what I do now. I'm so fortunate to be doing it. It's been a process, and it's awesome to get to this point where I can share so much of it with so many people. Because it's, these movies were designed to entertain us, and they still do. But as somebody who's now 52,
Beep, 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 beep. Yeah, we can beep that out later. Don't worry.
oh, man, 52. And
funny.
I look at these movies; they still entertain me, but I look at them from a different perspective.
Yeah.
And I hear things that I didn't hear before in very different ways, and I have a very different approach to some of these movies where I'll watch it, I'll laugh my ass off, and then I go back and I watch it again. I'm like, whoa, hold on a second, pause, and I start thinking about what
That's a felony.
Yeah, it's a totally different approach, and I love it.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
awesome, man. That's so. I think I do the same thing with music. I do it with movies as well, but with music, like you really connecting to the artist and what they're trying to say beyond it just being like a banger of a song, but to just like, wait a second, you just reinvented the way that I think. And I think all art operates in that realm, and movies, 80s movies for sure, just hit in ways that maybe modern movies don't.
Yeah, they were. I mean, we've talked about this, that it was, they didn't make. This is just, of course, one guy's opinion. They didn't make things complex for the sake of making them complex. They kept things really simple, and there was, for the most part, there was always kind of the ending that you wanted, but that's okay. That's okay, and because ultimately, I always felt like yes, there's a place for entertainment to educate us, but then there's a larger place for it to entertain. And I think that's what the 80s did so well. And I think that's why there's such a resurgence and renaissance that only seems to be getting bigger, by the way. I mean,
It really does.
just was it a couple of nights ago, Jimmy Fallon did an 80s night, and he had Ralph Macchio on, which of course was Cobra Kai, and because he's doing a book tour right now with his book that's out. He had Debbie Gibson. She just starred in a movie called Class that came out in the first week in September, which was, I believe, directed by Anthony Michael Hall. And it was kind of not a remake, but a nod to The Breakfast Club, same kind of idea.
Yeah, actually, I know one of the producers on that movie or that show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a relative of my dad's boss, and he's done a couple other. His story is almost kind of like Goodfellas-esque, where he was, given the opportunity to go out to Chicago from someone that was, we'll just say, tied with a certain Italian American group. I think that's the safe way to say it. But yeah, he's done a couple.
Was it a Three Tenors?
I'm not exactly sure, so I'll just say that just to protect myself.
No, the Three Tenors were Pavarotti, and I'm kidding.
Oh yeah.
Oh gosh.
It's from Seinfeld. It's from Seinfeld.
Yes.
Yes.
Too much sauce. That's also from
I know.
Okay, there we go. The third one.
He was also, I believe, involved in the Universal Soldier reboot as well.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's. I mean, I want to see it. I haven't seen it yet. I do want to see it. And Jennifer Beals. Yeah, Jennifer Beals on because from Flashdance. I believe I've heard rumors that they are doing a television series on Flashdance, which I actually think could be pretty interesting because it was a really important movie for the time. Beyond just the scene that everybody knows, where the bucket of water and she's in the chair, but there was so much. That movie was much deeper than just kind of what people saw, and I think that character is a great character to build a television series around. So if they do it, I hope they have it in the 80s because it only makes sense based on her character's job, blue collar job. And then she's also this dancer. And I just think it works really well. So,
For sure.
and Modern English was the musical group on Fallon that night. So yeah.
Speaking of Anthony Michael Hall, he was in the last Halloween movie. Now Halloween Kills comes out, or sorry, Halloween Ends. He was in Halloween Kills. Comes out in what, less than a week now.
Yeah.
It comes out on Friday. I don't know that we've ever talked to you about horror. Are you a horror guy? Are you into the Halloween franchise and any excitement for this last one?
I'm not an expert like a few of the guys that you have on. I think it's Paranormal Pat, right? Yep. And
he brings it.
Yeah. I'm not an expert in them, but I do enjoy them. And I think there's such a great, I talk about the slasher films in the context of when people ask me why 80s pop culture, and I talk about all the amazing genres of music and movies that exploded in the 80s, that they were kind of there before, but then the 80s took them to an entirely new level. So slasher films is a great example. There were a few, right? I mean, you had Psycho, you had Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I'm sure Paranormal Pat could name a few others but off the top of my head, there's a couple that I can think of that were, quote unquote slashers. And then in the 80s, they took it to an entirely new level. And so I am a fan. I will tell you that the movie that scared me the most, and it's probably because I was 9 and I shouldn't have been watching it, but it wasn't 80s. It was 1979, and it was Salem's Lot.
Ooh.
And it scared the hell out of me. That's actually coming out. Stephen King gave his blessing, I guess, for a remake of sorts.
Okay.
And so they're doing Salem's Lot. It's delayed right now in production, but that one scared the hell out of me. My recollection of 80s movies, 80s horror movies, was always being prepared to see a lot of blood and gore and not being prepared for that. Chopping Mall was another one. Like,
yes, fucking love Chopping Mall.
So crazy, like the ideas.
Yeah.
Maximum Overdrive was not a slasher movie, but kind of good horror movie about the machines coming to life, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, and then of course Sleepaway Camp, which I know you guys love. So
The director doesn't love JD, but we love the movie.
We that's a story in our archives. There you go.
Well, since you keep mentioning him, Chris,
yeah,
you might as well stick around for this. So, boom.
There's supposed to be volume. You failed, Kyle.
Oh, there's no value?
No.
Okay. Let's do this one. I was hoping.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Paranormal Pat, and I was asked by my brother Kyle to come on live to do a review of Halloween Ends. I almost said Kills. Halloween Ends, which is coming out this month. So I will be coming live. Sorry I wasn't able to be on tonight's episode. I have the Raider game, Raiders, and my dad coming over, so I couldn't be on tonight. But I am bringing this video live to say I will be there to give my review on Halloween Ends when we record live. Maybe I'll bring Michael.
There we go. So he couldn't make it. The Raiders are on.
Yeah, he's disappointed right now.
I left the screen.
He's disappointed right now. They were up. I got it on in the background. They were up 20
shoot.
They were up 20-7 at halftime. Now they're down 24-20 in the third.
He's my favorite on game day because as things get worse, his comments on Facebook get better, and he'll be like, "Another damn fumble. Go Raiders! Like, guy can't hold on to the ball. I'm sick of this crap. Go Raiders!
That sounds like me and the
Yeah.
Ravens.
Yep.
Same thing.
I love it. So yeah, that's pretty much going to be our month. We're going to have you on. We've got Pat coming on for the Halloween Ends review. We're going to do Halloween 5 in 20 minutes or less. That's our new thing. We do quicker breakdowns, a little bit more
I love it.
digestible. And then we might have a top 5 with a guest to be determined, trying to figure out some dates and logistics. It may get pushed to November's, but before we announce anything on that, we'll kind of hold off. But yeah, man, we'd love you on. Maybe next week if you got some time, we can record that next episode and go from there. But unless you guys have anything else, we could probably call it here.
No, this is rock and roll, man, and I love it.
And on a high note,
So real quick, if you want to follow Chris, you can do that over on Instagram at Chris Clues 80s. We're still on Twitter at 80s Pop Culture. You can go to chrisclues.com and you can go to Amazon right now to get, I think maybe the best title I've ever heard for a book. Raised on the 80s, 30 Unexpected Life Lessons from Movies and Music that defined pop culture's most excellent decade. Go pick it up right now. Chris, thanks again for coming on the show, man.
Thank you guys, as always. Jeff, great to meet you. I look forward to
you
doing
too.
some episodes with you.
You bet.
And I appreciate the time always, guys.
Boom.
Oh yeah, man.
Let's hit the outro and we'll see you guys on Friday. Stay tuned for the David Miniatures episode. If you love miniatures, you love movies from the 80s, you don't want to miss this one. Have a good night.
Stay rad, everybody.
Yeah.